Due to flooding just like this, Geneva City and Geneva County schools have canceled for tomorrow. Behind me used to be a baseball field. Now it's completely underwater. And right over my right-hand shoulder, you'll see the foul pole just inside of that baseball field. A locally owned seafood store closed their doors and evacuated for Hurricane Laura. But when they returned, they found half of their boats did not survive. Hurricane Sally brought record water levels in Geneva, the worst anyone has ever seen in Fowler Park since 1998. I'm about 5'7", so you can get an idea of how big this tree really is. But what one Iowa family didn't expect was to be trapped inside their home by it. But due to the heavy rainfall, take 2 steps to your right and you're in a knee-deep or waist-deep hole. I'm standing in about ankle-deep water right now, but it wasn't always like this afternoon. It was about knee-deep or to my waist, but behind me you can actually see on these trees where the water was. Well, Enterprise already has a game under their belt, big-time win, 35-19 over Carver, but Dothan, like you said, is hungry to play. More than 2,000 people are lining up at the Lake Charles Civic Center every day, where organizations are providing essentials for those who need it most. Live in Geneva, Aaron Wilson, WRGX, your hometown NBC. What if I told you one Moss Bluff couple was laying right here when Hurricane Laura hit, but seconds before this tree fell, they had a gut feeling that saved their life? Christine Johns has been best friends with her neighbor Carolyn for 20 years. When Carolyn decided not to evacuate for Hurricane Laura, Christine had concerns.
With Rita, we had flooded homes, we had water rising, and with this, it's just like everything came from the east and fell west. All of the trees, even going up and down the highway, everything's from east to west.
A tree came crashing down, landing right where Carolyn and Jean would have been sleeping if it weren't for a hunch.
Sometimes your instincts kick in, you know, when there's danger coming ahead. And she told her husband, she said, we need to go to the other end. And her granddaughter said as soon as she left the room, the tree came down. They would have never survived.
When hearing of the damage to his hometown, Stephen made the trip from Tennessee to help his friends and family.
I wasn't prepared to see the damage that ensued. It's surreal, right? You end up being thankful, honestly. You're thankful for what you got. You grasp hold of the good things. And you make it a good story.
But he wasn't the only one. Friends that are active duty took a break from serving our country to help those who needed it the most.
They're friends and family, so I'm going to help them if I can. I mean, me and Max grew up together, but the other guys were just, guys that want to help. And when they know that people need help, they will be there to help them if they're able.
A Marine for 26 years, Broussard said the devastation is a scene that reminds him of his time in the service.
I was going through downtown Sulphur when I first got here, and with the telephone poles and wires and everything in the streets and just the rubble, it reminded me of when I was in Ramadi in 2005.
The couple is staying in Houston for the time being until they make arrangements for their home. In Moss Bluff, Aaron Wilson, WTVY, your hometown news leader. This football season will be anything but normal. Instead of hearing this, you'll be hearing more of this.
We decided not to have our bands travel. They will, for a rival game, they'll travel to Abbeville, and we'll allow that to happen. But the other games, the band will not travel. Not having to wear the face mask all the time, and they still have the social distance. When they're playing, being exposed to other cities and stuff.
Henry and Houston County Schools also announced they will not allow visiting bands into their stadiums.
We also feed off the energy from the away team, and it's kind of our own competition. While the football team, they're going head-to-head in a competition, the bands, we can try to outplay the other band, and it's just a fun environment that has been kind of taken away from us this year.
So while the football and cheer team travel to away games, band members will be leaving their instruments at home. A decision that could affect the way their teams play.
About 5 or 6 years ago, we were at a football game, and the energy the band promoted with the fans really helped our team up into the last moment. And sometimes bands aren't given enough credit for their motivation, and so that won't be there. So it's going to be totally sole on the football team to self-motivate.
While COVID-19 causes school and football season to be uncertain, the Headland Band is making the most of the time they have together.
It's like this is my last year, the last time that I get to support my team, and I just really want to be able to have that experience with my peers and be able to have a normal high school year. But we're going to make the best of what we can, and we are going to perform to the best of our abilities at the home games.
In Headland, Aaron Wilson, WTVY, your hometown news leader. A home that was supposed to be passed down to generations to come has now left one Holly Beach resident picking up the pieces. After evacuating for Hurricane Laura, Shane and Lisa could not recognize the place they called home.
Even living here since 2013, just coming out on the deck or driving down the road, whose place was that? It's hard to recognize who was where and what was what, how a storm can just take so much and just... It's just sad.
Their year-old Holly Beach home was still a work in progress when Laura hit.
It's just been 2 weeks, and it's 2 weeks of hard work every day, and you don't see any progress. You don't see any progress every day, and it's just hard. It just sucks because there's nobody to blame, and there's nothing you could do to have prevented it, or nobody to beg not for it to happen.
A dream the couple had worked their whole lives for.
We both work for the same company. We both saved money every week, and that money we would save, we'd come home and put it a little bit at a time. So we were building it on our own time and our own money. It was just something that we were building for us, and we have 15 grandchildren. That love coming to the beach, and that's what I think motivates us.
To share with their loved ones.
I just believe that both between us, we have 100 years of heritage in Holly Beach to pass on to our grandchildren. And I want that to happen. I just want that to happen.
But even in the eye of the Category 4 storm, their American flag was still there, just like they'll be.
I just think we have to come back. It's glory, and it's glory to God and the United States of America that we have the right to be here, and we will be here.
The next step for Shane and Lisa is to hopefully get running water. In Holly Beach, Aaron Wilson, WTVY, your hometown news leader.